Welcome to Copentel, a podcast about Copenhagen and Denmark's history. Written and produced by Danish historian and tour guide Rune Edberg. This podcast features excerpts from Rune Edberg's book Know Your Dane, Unlocking the Secrets to the Danish Mentality, as well as stories from his 2 walking tours, World War II and Copenhagen, and Copenhagen's Dark History Walk. It is possible to book a spot on these tours on the website copentel.com. On this episode,
the Danish welfare state. Healthcare in Denmark is universal, free of charge, and high quality. Everybody is covered as a right of citizenship. Quote, Bernie Sanders. There has always been some form of poverty relief in Denmark. The Danish welfare state, as we know it, is based on the emerging Danish democracy, which was officially initiated in 1849 with the introduction of the Constitution. Over time, Danes have gained inspiration for their welfare state from neighboring countries. For example, the welfare of senior citizens came from the great neighboring country of southern Germany in the late 1800s. At a time of great national and community fellowship, the Danes managed to rally all social groups behind the idea of a welfare society, from the bourgeois homes in the capital to the workers and farmers in the rural areas. Social reforms. At the same time as Hitler's takeover in Germany in 1933, Denmark introduced new social reforms for the entire population. Danes have continuously developed new elements for their welfare system. For example, the universal right to a free education, medical care, and retirement. The welfare systems of the Scandinavian countries have been developed according to a socialist view that all citizens must have equal access to medical care, social assistance, education, and retirement. This is collectively financed through tax payments. That may seem high to people in other parts of the world. However, it is also an overall type of insurance for the individual. If they are affected by illness or other unfortunate circumstances, the community is there for them. The aim of the welfare society is to create a common trust and security for the population from the cradle to grave. The welfare society is a central part of Denmark as a country, and a cornerstone of the Danes' view of themselves. However, it is also a phenomenon that continuously creates debate. In recent years there has been a debate about budget cuts to the system, and instead introducing elements from the US system with more tax cuts. It is an expensive system to keep running, and it is also crucial to come to a consensus with the population if support for the system is to be maintained. The Parliament, Folketinget. The Danish Parliament, Folketinget, resides in Christiansborg Castle, in the center of Copenhagen. Folketinget is a 179-seat parliament, wherein 4 of the seats are reserved for representatives of the Faroe Islands and Greenland, which are both parts of the Kingdom of Denmark. To govern Denmark, it is key to hold over half the seats after a general election. The Danish State. The Danish State, staten, is the control center in the Danish welfare state. It is the actor who brings together all the threads in the well-developed welfare system. The state has the overall responsibility of collecting tax payments from private citizens and businesses, as well as identifying the economic conditions for both regions and municipalities. The state additionally keeps an eye on the whole country's best interests, by being responsible for the Danish population both internally, i.e. through the judiciary and the police, and externally, i.e. through the armed forces. The environmental area is also a central part of the government's tasks, as well as the youth programs that young Danes enter at the end of primary school. The regions. There are 5 Danish regions: Region Hovedstaden, which covers Greater Copenhagen and Northern Zealand; Region Zealand, covering the rest of Zealand; the North Jutland region, including Aalborg; the Central Denmark region, including Aarhus; and Region Syddanmark, covering Southern Jutland, Funen, and Odense. Prior to the municipal reform in 2007, the regions were mainly responsible for hospital operations, main roads, and social and educational areas. Following the closure of the counties, a number of these tasks have been distributed between the regions and the municipalities. Today, The region's main responsibility within the welfare society is to run the Danish public hospitals, psychiatric hospitals, and other healthcare institutions. The municipalities. Denmark was divided into 98 municipalities after the municipal reform in 2007. It is the responsibility of the municipalities to take care of the citizens within several areas of the welfare state, such as schools, kindergartens, the elderly, and employment. But they also have a major responsibility of regards for public transport, road maintenance and infrastructure, and regards to strengthening the opportunities for the local business community and the cultural sphere in the local communities. Additionally, the municipalities must keep an eye on nature and the environmental issues being observed locally. Book a spot on Copentel's World War II walking tour in Copenhagen. Take a journey back to the 1940s, when the Nazi German forces had occupied the Danish capital. On this guided walking tour we will visit the city district of Vesterbro and the city center of Copenhagen. In the company of our historian Rune Edberg, who is specialized in the Second World War and the German occupation of Denmark 1940 to 1945, you will have the unique opportunity to visit some of the central places of the Danish freedom struggle during the Second World War. You'll become acquainted with the central themes and paradoxes of the period. Danes in the resistance movement and Danes in German service, which came to violent expression through assassinations and bomb attacks that divided the Danish population during the 5 long years from 1940 to 1945. We will stop outside at some of Copenhagen's most central locations and sites from the Second World War. This includes the former Gestapo headquarters at Shellhuset, where we will hear the story of the British bombing of the building on the 21st of March 1945 and its consequences. We will also visit the place where the resistance group Holger Dansk was founded and come past the dreaded addresses from which Hitler's henchmen ruled Denmark with an iron hand. You can book your spot on Copentel.com.
You have been listening to Copentel, a podcast about Copenhagen and Denmark's history. Written and produced by Danish historian and tour guide Rune Edberg. This podcast features excerpts from Rune Edberg's book Know Your Dane: Unlocking the Secrets to the Danish Mentality, as well as stories from his 2 walking tours, World War II and Copenhagen, and Copenhagen's Dark History Walk. It is possible to book a spot on these tours on the website copentel.com.